record. Okay. So I'm going back to screen sharing, right? Where the heck is it? PyCharm, right there. And share. Okay. So this particular data file, it's a shortened version of the other data file, which is big.
Yeah.
Each line of the data file has 4 fields. It's got the date it was released, you know, that's the 8/20/2004. We have the exorcist, the beginning. And then we have, I think that the first one is
the budget.
This is the budget, and this is the gross.
Right.
This piece right here. But notice everything is separated by commas. Comma, comma, comma. A CSV file is a data file. It's called a comma-separated value file. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Python read each line of the file and then break the pieces up so that you can say, this part is the date, this is the title, this is the budget, this is the gross. Okay?
Right.
And once we split it, we can do whatever we want with it. We can say, take the gross, divide it by 15, multiply by 75. It doesn't matter once you have the data, okay? So let's do it right now. So this is our existing data file. This is our Python code. So the first thing that we're going to do is when you deal with, it's in the book.
Is how to get that CSV. I mean, you can, when you go like into, I have a Mac, so when you go into Finder, you can just hit like open with PyCharm, and then that's what that test.csv will pop up as. Or I mean, I have it in my Word.
Yeah. So the only reason why I opened it in PyCharm is to make it easy for you to see.
Okay, so I could have it open in Text Wrangler.
You don't have to open it up at all.
Oh, okay.
It's just opened in PyCharm so you could see what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. When you're doing this, as a matter of fact, here, I just closed it. I don't have to have it open to do anything. When I say open the data file, I'm talking about telling Python to open the file. Okay? The way that you work with files in Python is you tell Python, open the data file if it exists, work with the data, and then close the data file.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. We first have to come up with what they call a file object. We've got to give it a name.
Right.
Like that was called test.csv. I'm just going to call it data file. It's just a name. It could be anything you want. But from that point forward, anytime you want to talk about the test.csv file, you got to call it by its assigned name. Data file, input file, whatever you want to call it. Okay?
Right.
So I'm going to call it data file. Data file is equal to open. What is the file called? Test.csv. The only thing that we have to add is this is the original data file. Mm-hmm. We're not going to be writing any data to it. We're going to be reading from it.
Right.
So, according to the notes, it says this field has to be R.
Right.
Okay, and R means to read. Okay. Now, we might as well do it here now. We're going to have something called, I'm going to call it output file. You can call it whatever you want. I just happen to call it output file. So open a file called data.csv. This just happens to be a file that I'm making up. Okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to be sending data to it, which means I'm going to write data to it. Okay? So those 2 lines of code right there actually tell Python, I'm opening up the test.csv file to read data from it.
Right.
Later on, I'm going to send a bunch of data to the data.csv file by writing to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what those 2 lines mean.
Yeah.
We okay so far?
Yeah, so far so good.
Good. Now, I'm going to open up the data file so you can see what I'm talking about. 1, 2, 3, well, 1 to 10. I got 10 lines of data here. You don't want to run, you don't want to say, read and then read and then read. This is a great opportunity for a loop, right? I want to do the same thing over and over and over again. So you have a loop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say for line in data file. No, I'm sorry. For a line in data file. Now that variable line, it could be anything. For information in data file, for line stuff in data file, it's just a variable that we're going to use. Okay.
Right.
So Python knows that the data file reference, it's called an object, is tied directly to test.csv. So what do? Now, I'm going to do this. There's going to be an issue, and then we'll fix the issue, okay? So I'm going to say in the string discussion, there was a method called split.
Yeah.
So we said before that it's release date, movie title, movie budget, and gross. Okay. Now,
where are you getting, like, I mean, obviously those variables are pretty obvious as to what they are, but how are you getting, like, that exact? Because I mean, just like looking at the code so far, like, you would never know that there's a. I mean, I don't really know what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to follow you. I haven't declared those variables. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, because that's basically what I'm trying to say.
One of the things that I shared with the class back a while ago is that Python doesn't actually require the pre-definition and initialization of variables, but it's a good idea to do it. I just started writing the code so that we could start working. So those are declared and initialized.
Yep.
Now what I'm doing is I'm telling Python every single line in this file, 1, 2, 3, 4 fields, I want you to split them, and I want you to assign the splitting of those 4 pieces to this variable, this variable, this variable, and this variable.
Right.
And Python has a tool for that. We say, okay, take the variable that you're using in the loop, split.
And then you use the parentheses with the comma, right? Or with the quotes and comma, quote.
So what are you telling me you don't know about this stuff?
Well, I mean, it's just like, I understand how to, like, conceptually do it, but I didn't know how to, like, kickstart actually.
Okay. Is this feeling better for you?
Yeah, it's better because I just, like, had no idea.
Okay. So as of right now, this is going to extract line by line. The first time in the loop, it's going to come up with 8/20/2004, Exorcist, whatever, $7 million, $4 million.
Yeah.
Okay? So if you don't believe me, let's do print release. As a matter of fact, you know what I can do and make it a little bit easier on me? Take this, copy it, and put it there. Okay? I'm just going to run this.
Yeah.
Let's see what it does. I'm going to say run, lab 7. There it is. It opened up everything. There's our date, title, budget, gross. I just spit it out. I read it, spit it out. Read it, spit it out. Okay? So I'm really not doing this, but let's take this away. Okay? So that's how to open up a data file, read from the data file, pull the data out. Now, let's say I only want to output the title and the budget if the gross is over $500,000.
Uh-huh.
Okay? So if I'm going to say int let's do the movie budget. If int movie budget is greater than $500,000, let me see if there's any ones that are really here big. Now let's make it $1 million. Okay. If the movie budget was over $1 million, I want to print the movie title. That's all I want to do.
Right.
Okay. So let's try that and see what it does.
Can I ask you a question really quick?
Sure. Yeah.
How come you had to insert int before movie budget instead of just saying movie budget is over $1 million? How come you added the int?
Good, because the int guarantees that what it'll do, oh, hold on a second. The int will guarantee that the movie budget is converted to an integer if it's even considered a string.
Okay.
That's the reason.
So that's just to kind of double check and be safe. Yeah. That gives me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to run it again and see what it does. Invalid syntax. What did I do wrong?
You needed another colon or parentheses at the side of the million.
No, actually I have too many parentheses. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to run it again. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Of the movies, those movies have a budget of greater than $1 million.
Right.
Okay, let's do 5 million. I don't know what it's going to come up with. Let's try it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's try $10 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's what we're reading. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do now is we're just, printing out this stuff. So let's try this. Let's do a gross. And if the movie gross, let's see. 1, 2, 3.
How does it, I mean, I kind of understand, but how does it know that it's already separated by column? I mean, are you just putting those variables in that order because the columns are separated by that order?
Yeah, so the data file, date, title, budget, gross.
Right. So then you don't have to say I was under the impression when I was first looking at this that somehow I'd have to assign gross to every number on that far right side of the list all the way down. And I was like, how in the world am I supposed to do? I didn't realize that it would, if you just put gross and it's far over and after you split it, it would automatically.
Yeah, but understand also it's taking it line by line.
Right.
Looking at one line of the 70,000 movies and saying, just look at the one line. The last field is gross.
Right.
The first field is date. The second field is title. And that's why the for loop is there. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So let's go in and make this, I don't know, I'm just making up a number here, Elena.
That's fine.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm saying 50 million. I don't know what the heck. I don't know what is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that wouldn't make it. Let's just make it 10 million. And we'll just do that. So what I'm going to say now is instead of printing it to the screen, I'm going to say if the gross of the movie was over $1 million, okay, I want to send whatever you want, the title, the budget, and the gross to another file.
Right.
Okay, so let's do that. What is the name of the object for the output data file? Output file dot write. So what that does, it says takes take some information. If the gross of the movie is greater than $10 million, I want to output a bunch of stuff. Okay. And one of the things we're going to output is the movie title. Now, the uncomfortable thing with this, it's not really a problem, but everything that we want to do has to be built. So that's the title.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to say output file.write. I'm going to put a comma in because I'm trying to make a CSV file out of this. Output file.write. What do I want to put out there? Oh, gross. Keep on doing that. Output file.write. That's all I want to do. I'll put the movie and the gross.
Okay.
But now I have to tell Python that if I don't add a new line character, it's going to make one big long line.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Let's just try it and see what it looks like so you see what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay. So before I finish, I want to do this. Data file dot close output file dot close. So what this does is we open the file, we close the file before we exit. Okay? So let's run it and see what it does. It's not going to look like anything because we're just sending all the data to a file.
So nothing will come up, quite literally.
Nothing will come up on the screen.
Okay.
There's the data file. I'm going to open it up. Okay, so we actually did get what we needed. Title, gross.
Yep.
Title, gross. Title, gross, title, gross, title, gross. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, we got what we needed.
Right.
All right? Now, one of the things that I'm going to show you is if I said before we're going to get one long run online.
Right.
Remember I said before I'm going to put this surrounded as an integer. Okay? I'm going to run the program again, and you're going to see something. You should see something different. Let's see what it does. Okay, output. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, okay. It won't allow that. Okay, so we're okay. We're okay as far as the output data. So we have some variables. We open up the two data files. The piece in the lab that's going to be critical is that this line right here is going to be used to open up the data file, and you're going to read it one line at a time, and this is what you do. If there's 4 pieces, if there's 5 pieces, if there's 6 pieces in the data file, you have to have a specific variable to accept each of the data pieces when you split the line with the comma separator. And then once
how come you wrote equals line split? Like I understand that you're taking the variable line and then you're splitting it up into 4 different parts, but how come you had to add the actually that's in the notes too.
No, I'll explain it. Python is one of the few programming languages where you can actually have the following. You can say X, Y, Z, D, F, T, I lost my mouse. Equals 0. You can do multiple, so up to this point, you've been doing your declaration of variables. Movie budget equals 0. Gross equals 0. A equals 0.
Yeah, you can put them all on one line and put them equals.
You can put it on one line, okay? Right. What's happening here is that because we're using a split method, dot split, it's got to pass those values back one by one.
Okay.
And that's what it allows you to do.
Okay.
You've got to match the number of parameters with the number of variables, or else it doesn't work well.
Right.
Okay. So the key to the lab is going to be open the data files, one to read, one to write.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a loop that's going to read one line at a time. Once you open up your line and split the data, you really can do whatever you want. I mean, you can come over here and say, print the budget for this movie was, no, for movie title is budget. Is it budget or movie budget?
Movie budget, yeah.
Okay. Let's see what it does. I don't even know what it's gonna. Now this is going to output the number of lines in my data file, which is right here. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. When it outputs to the screen. So let's run this. There it is. The budget for Exorcist is 7 whatever. The budget for Domino, the budget for Gold, the budget for whatever the heck that is.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still sending the data to the data file. So when I open up, I'm going to reopen up the data file. Same information is in there.
Right.
Okay. So what other questions can I answer for you?
So obviously we need to use a number of different loops, or we only need to use one for loop, and then we use a bunch of different if loops underneath it, or do we have to redo each for and if loop for the different exported files?
Let me take a look at something. Okay, so once you open up your data file, and you open up your data file to read and your data file to output, right?
Right.
Basically, you're going to be doing exactly what we did here. Elena, I mean, there's not really much else you need to do. There's really technically only one loop.
Right. Okay, so everything can fall underneath that loop is what you're saying.
That's what okay, this is important. That one for loop at line 13 is the key to taking a data file, let's say of 50 million movies, and taking it one line at a time. The reason why the computer is a great idea for doing this is because it's got speed.
Okay.
Open up the file, read the one line, don't worry about the rest.
Mm-hmm.
Once you split it to what you needed, the rest you can process it underneath. Just make sure you finish everything before you go back to the top of the loop again and run the next line of movies.
Right.
Does that help?
Yeah, no, that helps a lot. And then also, let's see. So I mean, without giving away any answers, of course, for like the second part, you're asking us to type in a letter regardless of the case, and then it should print the profit or whatever of that movie. Then would that just be like I'm trying to think of a way to do.
Oh, Elena, come on, you're killing me. Look at the, look here. Would you agree that movie title here has the current movie title?
Yes.
You just came out of a unit for strings, right? Can you see my output screen? It says Exorcist, right?
Right.
Now, what character is that in the movie title?
E?
No, yeah, it's an E, but in the movie title, the strings are represented by the individual.
Shoot. It's the
Which index?
It'd be 0. I'm trying to think of what goes before it.
Good. Watch. Print movie budget. Is it movie budget? Yeah.
Yeah.
Budget sub 0.
Okay, okay. So that is how you type it. Because I also hadn't seen that in an example, and I was like, well, I've only used these little baby examples.
Look. Oh, I said movie budget. I'm so stupid. I want you to see something. Look at that output. The movie The Exorcist, notice that index sub 0 is your E. Once you're in the loop and you have your data, your release date, your movie title, your movie budget, you can get the information that you need to do what you need to do.
Right. I'm just trying to think of how to make it accessible for them to just enter a letter without me having to do some background stuff to go through all 26 letters of the alphabet.
No. If they say, if the user says, I'm looking for all movies that begin with the letter E, you ask them what letter you want to use and use that. If you ask the user for the letter that they want to search for,
right,
you can use that letter to find out if in other words, if they said, see, here's how the strategy works. If they said, I'm looking for all movies with the letter D, would the first movie work?
No.
No. Would the second movie work?
Yeah.
How did you compare the two?
It's not equal to Jesus God. It's not.
No, not Jesus God. It's that if you have the first letter of the movie, if that matches what the user put in.
Oh my gosh, this class sometimes. Oh, it's right in front of me every single day.
Don't.
That's why I can't do this class at such a fast pace because
I know. Elena, I promise you, I understand. I understand. And when they identified the class, I'm like, oh, sweet. No, don't do this to me.
Yeah, don't do that. I feel bad for you. I mean,
no, it's not me. Not me. I'm saying I know what's going to happen.
Oh, I know, but you're the one that has to get up and grade all this stuff super early too. So you definitely, and you have to be there on watch pretty much 24/7 for us.
Yeah. Even on Amtrak, which I was the other day. So, I mean.
Exactly. Yeah, you definitely don't take any time off.
Yeah. So, do you feel better?
Yeah, I just have one more question for you, though.
You're really getting your money's worth on this one.
I'm trying. So I'm trying to think. Please don't give me the answer because I don't want the answer. But I really don't want to be given the answer. But when you compare values, I'm trying to think of how am I trying to say this without also trying to get the answer. So we're asked to then display in the console, so then we don't need to export anything, of course, the highest profit of all movies listed. So obviously, you would do the little equation.
That's like saying Titanic is a boat. Okay?
Right. And then,
right. So let me ask you something.
Right.
Okay, let's do this together. Look at what did we output? We outputted the movie budget. So if I said to you, output the movie with the highest budget. The budget for The Exorcist was like, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, $78 million. Is the budget for Domino or Exorcist greater?
It's Exorcist.
Right. And then if you compare this with this, it's still higher. This with this, it's still higher. This with this, it's still higher. So what you're basically doing is you assume that the first value is the biggest one.
Oh, then you compare everything else kind of to it. And then, because then I guess if it was bigger, then it would pop up, and then you could compare the other values to that one. Okay. I just didn't know if I wanted to say that, but I didn't know if I was just being dumb and was missing something totally obvious once again.
How you feeling?
It's not as nearly as horrible. I thought that, I don't know, I totally just had this lab I mean, because when you think about it, like these kids who take this course like at school, like they have 3 hours of like in-class instruction on all this stuff a week, and it's like we can get one-on-one instruction, but only when we ask for it.
Yeah, so when I told my students when I teach it during the regular 15-week semester, they go, I can't get this. I don't have enough time. I said, you don't have a clue. You don't have a clue. How would you like to do this entire thing in 2 days? How would you do that? You know, oh no, I could. That's crazy. I said, yeah.
It is crazy. It is actually literally crazy.
Yeah. So one other thing that I was going to show you, and you may need to see this, is that there is a time when this is something that you've taken for, now I'm not saying you specifically, but the class. Every time you have, if you take a look at the test file, 8/20/2004, Exorcist, budget, profit, right? Or profit gross, profit gross, profit gross. Right over here, in order to get that next line of data to the next line, there has to be a new line character inside that at the end of this line. That may or may not be okay. That may cause a problem, that may not cause a problem. So I'm just showing you the use of a tool to get rid of extraneous stuff. Okay? So this line is going to have data, 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 \n.
Okay, yeah. Makes a new line.
Makes sense, right?
Right. Or is this kind of what you went over a little bit earlier today in that Zoom session?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the \n, the reason I'm telling you it, because a lot of these little methods like split, when I learned about split, I'm like, this is like great. Because I can take all that data, split it based on a comma, and everything works, right?
Right.
What you can also do is say, now, what is the variable that you use to hold the entire line?
Well, is it just line or data file?
No. The data file is the object name of the file of the data.
Right.
So line, okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say line dot strip. And what Python wants to know is, what do you want to strip off? I want to strip off the \n character. I don't want that.
You want all on one line.
And that's what, no, it's already on one line. But when you're working with data within the loop, sometimes having an extra new line character can really mess things up. I just stripped it off.
So it'll all be boom, 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 straight down the list.
It's still the data in a line.
Right.
It's still in pieces. I'm sorry, you know what? Hold on a second. I don't want to mess you up. I want to strip it off before I split it. So what this is going to do, it's going to say, take the line of the data from the data file located in test.csv, pull the line in, but I want you to strip it of the new line character at the end. Okay? Now that we have the new line character stripped off, now I want you to split it. That makes all of this work nice and clean.
Okay.
Okay? Now, do you feel better?
Yes, a million times better.
You still hate me?
No, I don't still hate you. No, you're very good about being very responsive and helpful. I just wish we had like organized class time, but obviously that can't happen with an online course like this.
Elena, I wanted to have a Friday between 10 and something. That was the original class. And that was really pushed away because they said it's really supposed to be an online class. I was like, what do you want?
Yeah. Because, I mean, this kind of material at this fast, it is, I mean, most of it obviously is us teaching ourselves how to do it for the most part, except for when we run into roadblocks and need help from you. But it's just like, I'd be rejoicing if I was in a classroom and got to sit in front of a professor 3 hours a week to learn how to, but I feel like sometimes there's maybe some little gaps that we might get right to running our program, but we don't really quite know what we're doing or aren't 100% on it, but it works. So we just kind of move on and
Right.
hope we don't have to see it again.
Elena, I've tried, please understand, I've tried to run a very delicate balance because if I keep on pushing content.
Right. Yeah. It's too much.
It's too much. I can't process it. And if I don't put enough, people say, well, I need more.
Right.
At this point, I think that you have a pretty good head start on how to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to be fair, I'm going to be posting this to the class.
Yeah.
At least this way people understand exactly what they need to be doing. If nothing, and I'm trying to say this so you really get it. What's critical is that loop.
Uh-huh.
That loop, it actually pulls a line of data from the data file, and then we actually split it up into different pieces.
Right. Cool.
Now, a lot of this stuff here we don't really need. I just wanted to show it to you that it actually works. I mean, sometimes people say, yeah, of course it works. You wrote it. No, it's not that. Down here is what the output looks like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have everything that we needed. We actually output the first letter. You see how that's done. All right. So hopefully it'll help you.
Cool.
Okay.
I think I am all set to go then.
All right. Hold on a second. Let me just stop this piece and we're back on. Okay. So then if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to get back to work.
You're working on the 4th of July?
That was funny. You're a comedian. Yeah, you're funny.
Well, I mean, I am too, I guess, but
the problem is that if I don't keep moving, I don't want to fall behind, because if I fall behind, then everyone's like, where's my stuff? I'm like,
Yeah.
Have a wonderful night. I'll look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks. I appreciate the help. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Have a
Take
good
care.
one.